Welcome back to the Oklahoma Speed and Custom YouTube channel. Today we're going to be working on Craze 32. I got the rear panel fixed. I'll have Charlie put some pictures of what I had to do on the screen. I had to pretty much just cut a whole section out here. It was the factory seam, which I have a piece of it somewhere. Let me figure out where I put it. Oh, here it is. So, had this really nasty factory seam right here. You can see the backside just grows. So I cut that factory seam out and made a new piece to flow into the new panel we got from Brookville. And then I made the factory corner ends fit. I decided the best way to do that would be to cut down this bead because the bead's the strongest area. So I went ahead and cut around it and with a sawzall blade just to keep the area really small so it'd be easier to weld back in. So we're gonna get that back together today. Hopefully I got it roughly fitting, but we need to do just a little bit more hammering and dolling to get it to where it's right after putting the piece in. But before we do that, if you haven't checked out our merchandise yet, so OklahomaSpeedandCustom.com, we still got hats, and I think we got a few sweatshirts left and a few t-shirts. So if you ain't got one, go ahead and swing on over there and grab you one. So let's get going on this. I got the backside all primered up. It was pretty much ready to go on. Just gotta fit it up a little bit better. Also need to take this out real quick, so let me get the air hammer over here and we'll take out the factory pinch, not pinch, I guess it's a seam, pinch seam right there. So we'll take that out and then we should be able to get ready to start tacking.
4 hours later.
We got it air hammered off. Now I'm gonna get it clean coated back in place, and then we'll get the welding drug over here. Start tacking our life away. Now the trick is to get this thing lined back up where the bead is actually right and where the panel fits. So it's gonna take some messing around. This is gonna be a long process. Really long process. But it's the best way to do it. Need some screwdrivers. Maybe some magnets. Oh, if I had a third hand to do it. It's close right there, but I'm gonna tack it. Oh man, got it. Oh, lost it. Here we go. Right there. I'll move. Okay. Hammer around on it some. See if I can get it back lined up. As you can see, we're pretty close right here, but here it's off and up here it's off. It just needs moved, which it's just kind of in a bind because of the way the new panel versus old panel, it's just not an exact perfect fit, and the body is probably slouching just a little bit, so I'll have to pull it up and get it back lined. We'll just need a ballpark because we can hammer the tag or the tacks around because TIG is more malleable, so I can hammer around. This side I've already got pretty much done, so now we're just doing the hard side. So keep at it. Let that cool down for a minute before I start messing with it. I like to put a little bubble on it like that, so I can just tack it with one hand, don't have to put the filler rod in there as well. Leave a little bubble, you get it lined up, you just heat that bubble back up and drag it over and it'll tack it. That's what I'm trying to do here. I might have to get some gloves on for this. Burn my hand. Sucks. It's in the wrong spot. Try it again. Do it with the hammer, maybe. Nope. I have to feed it somehow. Put a bigger bubble on it. There it goes. I can at least get a good tack on it. And then hammer the rest of it the rest of the way around. And of course. Okay, now this is not fitting, so we'll have to hammer that around a little bit. And I notice this edge up here is drooped, so we'll have to mess around with that some. But I'm just glad it's halfway in place. Finger's not too bad, it's just hot. Just got a little hot. Keep welding as I go. Really taking my time on this, kind of going back and forth. I'll weld a little bit, hammer on it, so just welding it solid, just because it's kind of moving around quite a bit. I mean, I guess I could tack it more, but it's also, it works both ways. You can weld it full or do it this way. Just gotta keep hammering back and forth, and making sure everything's good. Just a kind of a complicated area, as I mentioned before. We'll keep at it and we'll get there. Inch by inch, we will get there. Just make sure, I'm just making sure this thing is perfection. The nicer your fit up is, the better it's going to turn out in the end. So that's what I'm sticking to. We're just making sure everything is perfect on the fit up, so when I finally weld it out, it's a lot easier to finish, because it is kind of a pain to get in here and hammer and dolly. There's a lot of crap in the way. that cool down, we'll come in on the inside and grind the weld, and then we'll hammer and dolly it really well. Grind the top of the weld off again and DA it. Okay, so I just took the top of it off. I haven't hammered and dolly on it at all. I just took the top of the weld off and DA'd it. I don't dig into it when I take the top of the weld off. I'm just trying to hit just that seam where I welded. So don't be gouging the metal real deep if you're trying to do this yourself. What we're trying to do right now is, this is low. You can see where it's got a dark spot right there. That's low. So what I'm gonna come to the back side with the dolly and hold that dolly on that line and hammer on it, and it should bring that low up. So let's do that, and then if it doesn't work, we'll just keep at it. We'll just probably change dollies out, honestly, because I got a few different variables of dollies to get in there. So it's just there's a lot of inner structure, and this is really tight in here, so it's hard to get in there. So might have to switch dollies back and forth until we get right where we want to be. So just bear with me. But this is how I do it. Everybody always wants to know the tricks. This is the trick. I like to use this too to get in there and that bead and grind just the inside of that weld down as well. That helps a lot as well. Still low. Let me try this dolly and the slapper. So I found this dolly, I rounded off the corner. It actually gets in there a little better than what I was using, so I can actually put some pressure on it. Kind of even out those highs and lows. That's a lot better. Now we need to mess with this lower piece. Try to get it. The lower piece is going to be a real pain because there's no way to put a dolly in there. I guess I can get it kind of in there, but it's going to take some messing around. So it's going to be the same process though. We just try to work in there and just get those highs and lows evened out. Same thing with this portion as well. Just going to go, and that's basically the same thing I always do. Just put your dolly on your low and hammer down the highs over and over again. Okay, I've been just banging this thing out. Got most of this side done. I got a little bit left to do on the lower piece, but this is what it kind of looks like after. So I'm just gonna let the camera roll on this side so you can kind of just watch me as I go, just finishing all the seams and stuff. hard to get a grinder in the backside to where I had to start and stop a few spots, and then I had this backer that was in here. It kind of pulled some of the metal off while I had to weld that hole up. Well, it kind of bubbled up on the backside. Not like porosity, but just from welding. Just happens on the backside. So I usually try to grind that down. I can't really get to the spot, so I need to kind of think about how I'm going to fix that. In the meantime, we'll go ahead and weld this edge up over here. So I'll move the camera and you guys can watch me weld that up. Well, we about got her whooped. I got a little bit of a low spot there. I need to re-weld the bottom just right there where I had to, or well, I guess I didn't weld it still. I just took the welder over there and didn't weld it. I was more focused on up here. So I'll have to come back tomorrow and just get that little bit and finish this lower. But the top, I'm pretty happy with that. It's straight. I can't feel no waves, and there's very minimal like undercut low spot to where the weld was. I actually was able to get in there with that deburring wheel. I just used like a, oh, I already put it up, but I used a like for porting heads, like a long sandpaper, they call them Tootsie Rolls I guess, but I used that and got that weld down just to where it would actually where I could hammer and dolly it without it being all wonky. So I got that. Finish that tomorrow. I need to weld that hole up tomorrow. Then I want to start on the rear cross member shock mounts and the sway bar. So tomorrow I'll start laying that out. I'll have to go to O'Reilly's and get a lower shock bolt to weld on the wishbones. Craig came by earlier and we kind of talked about that, so I'll kind of show you what the deal is tomorrow. I need to double check everything too, rear end wise, make sure the pinion angle's correct, and make sure side to side's correct. It's just been a minute. I like to go back and check my work because it's not fresh in my head, so I want to go back and make sure there's no slips anywhere. Then after that, we'll hopefully tackle that door and just go around nitpicking the body. You can see there's a dent there and a dent there, just little dents everywhere. Everything else is pretty not, I mean, it's not major. Everything else isn't major. It's very minimal. Just besides the door and this was a big headache because the one that was in it was rough, like really rough, a lot of Bondo and stuff. So I was able to, like I said, cut those seams out to where they're just clean. There's not any major seams you can see. Before it was nasty. If you ever mess with 32, you kind of know how the rear seams are, and they're nasty. But I'm pretty happy with that. So on to tomorrow, I guess. We'll see what I can get done tomorrow on this thing. Hopefully I get the shocks at least mounted and kind of get an idea of the sway bar. So see you guys in the morning. Well, it's a new day here. I've started working on the shocks this morning. We had a fiasco yesterday. Said it was the worst flood since 1946 was here. It just rained forever. It flooded really bad. I'll have to try to put some pictures of it up. Shawnee was underwater. Jacob got a little bit in his shop. I had a small puddle. As like you can see, I still got a puddle. I think I got a lot of not a lot of it, but I kind of redirected some of it to where I built a little dam out there to keep the water from coming through the door, because it would puddle up and come under the door over there. So that's kind of what I did. I put that little dam up in it, kind of helped, you know, bring it down far this way. It started coming in underneath the wall, so that's what that was from, just that little puddle. But I spent the day, or half the day, dealing with that stuff, and then I came in and started messing with the shocks a little bit. I'll show you what I've been doing. Let's see. So my plan is I want to run the shocks like that. So I need to, let's see, hold on. So my plan is I want to run the shocks a little above the rear cross member, just so I have a little bit more travel. As you can see, I got the lower shock bracket kind of figured out. It's just a piece of pipe with the shock bolt welded in it. So I'll have to weld all the way around that once I get them out. But that was the best, simplest way I could do it without something gaudy and hanging down. So that was the cleanest way. Took me a minute to get them evened out, but I got that side done too. Just a lot of just getting back and looking at it and kind of measuring off stuff to see if it's straight. I did, before I went and, well, I guess I haven't really started on the top shock mount, but I went ahead and measured the rear end and made sure it's in there even. So I know that I know it's straight. It's not off to one side or anything wonky. So I double checked that and got it all ready to go. I started looking at the shock, or not the shock, the sway bar setup, which I kind of got it laid out here. I'm gonna show you guys. So FDF, I believe, Race Shop makes these little inserts that are keyed that you weld into your, this will actually be your sway bar pipe, and this is a little bushing that keeps it, you know, moving so it didn't lock up on it. But I'll have to wind up building brackets off this to the rear cross member, but then you just weld this arm on there and then it goes up and down evenly. It'll keep the body from rolling so bad. These cars are really bad about rolling. The body roll is terrible just because it's got the spring is this way on it, so it just pivots on the spring on the back. So that's kind of what I wanted to fix with this car, since it's gonna be full fendered, and I want it to be where we can, I mean, he can drive it and we can have a good time in it, because it's kind of the plan with this thing. Me and Craig want to go drive it around and have a good time, drive to a bunch of car shows and stuff, and just be friends, I guess. You know how it is. It's just, I really like Craig, and we both have the same type of love towards hot rods, early hot rods, so he's always a good guy to hang out with. So that's what the plan is with this thing. I want to where he can drive it wherever he wants to, and it's comfortable, and you can just have a good time. Anyway, so now I want to start working on the top shock brackets, and then hopefully, I don't know if I'll make it in this video, but we'll start working on the sway bar. Because I know we're about out of time for today too, because I've been messing with that all day. So let me see how far we can get on this upper shock bolt, or mounting. Well, I got it laid out here. I used the washer that came off the bolt to kind of locate it, just because I know the washer is about the same size as the tall point of the bolt, shock bolt. So just laid it on there, traced around it how I want it. I'm gonna cut it a little big, and I'm gonna go test fit it and stuff before I surround it. So I'm gonna actually, it's gonna have a surround around it too, so it'll have like a I don't know, you'll see. It'll be like 1/8 inch around it, just so it looks a little cleaner, and it kind of protects the nut from getting crap on stuff all over it. So, and I think it'll look better and be stronger, which I know it's just shock bolt, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. So let's get this thing cut out. Okay, the reason I didn't cut to the line is I wanted to bevel that to the line. So I wanted that to stick down over this curve, and I can weld it, and it will be, when you look at it this way, it's just flush instead of having like a seam here. So that's why I did it that way. So that is what we're wanting right there. Let me get you in a better spot and you can kind of see. I don't want that dramatic of an angle. A lot of other cars have a lot of more dramatic of an angle of a shot on the shock. And I think it's just so they don't have to do this. But I'm not scared of putting some dimples in the floor. And I asked Craig, and he's cool with it too, because I want to have as much shock travel as possible, but I also need clearance for the sway bar. Let me go grab a sway bar arm, and I'll show you why we need clearance. Okay, our shock, like I said, I don't want it at a severe angle over here. A lot of guys will run the shock farther this way, so it's more of an angle. And I think they do that, in one, because they don't want to put dimples in their floor, but they also, I think they think the shock keeps their end in line, which it does to a point, but I want to put sway bar on it so it doesn't have the roll. I think they put the shocks at the angle and it keeps it from rolling so bad, the body. They just, once I get it off the jack stands, I can show you guys, it's bad. So take note of that, I'll show you later. But with the sway bar, I don't have a lot of room, so I have to run it. I have to run the shock over a little bit farther as well, and to get it up to tall enough, I need to put a dimple in the floor. Well, the sway bar is gonna have to be in the middle like this, so the bar will go in here and kind of be like that, so kind of curve around the shock. For my measurements, the sway bar is gonna be 26 long, and from ear mounting to ear mounting, it'd be 32. and that'll just have a little heim joint that goes down to the top of the rear end, and it'll keep it from the body from swaying so bad. These things are a little wonky just because of the leaf spring, the buggy spring in the back. They just get weird in the back without shocks or anything. Kind of like a Volkswagen. And Volkswagens are kind of like that too. If you don't have shocks in the back, they get all weird when you drive them. Ask me how I know. I've done it before. I thought you didn't have to run shocks in the back of a Volkswagen. Turns out they're very, very necessary. But that's the plan, and then we'll wrap this with a piece of 1/8 inch, and I'll make it, you know, kind of bevel out, taper up to it, just to make it look a little nicer versus just like farmer kind of welded it. So anyway, that's what we're doing. Okay, I got this other other side of the crossmember clearance for the shock, and I got the bracket in place. So I've been kind of looking at this, and I know I said I wanted to surround it, but I'm thinking about molding it in. So I just need to talk to him and see what he thinks. It would be fine just welded on both sides. It's not going to break, but it's just a look thing more than anything. You just gotta, I don't want to do too much because this car is kind of more 60s based. Like everything is kind of period correct to the 60s. But I'm just trying to make stuff nice too, versus just having something welded to it. I mean, like I said, it would work. It's not, a shock doesn't have much tension on it. But it would also be cool to do that. So I'm gonna lay this other side out. We're gonna measure from here to the edge of this. Do that, and we'll even them up. I'll tack it, kind of move it around, make sure I like it, and then we'll take everything off and weld them solid, and then start on the sway bar. Now we'll put it all back together, and I'll go get the angle finder, and we'll just make sure all the angles are correct on everything, side to side, so I don't have to worry about it later. Okay, I've been assembling the sway bar over there on the bench. I got it together, and I kind of got it at not right, well, close to right height, within 1/2 inch or so. And the reason I want to do that, I want to check the third member one more time, make sure it's right angle. So this is at 3 degrees, and this is at like 3, sometimes 250, just depending on where you move the angle finder. So they're both like this. So the pinion angle is up, the motor's down, so it's parallel like it's supposed to be. Now I can show you guys the lean I was talking about on these bodies. You can see how much body rolls on this thing. That's because the buggy spring, it's round, or not round, but it's a crescent shape. You've seen a buggy spring, and it's like that. So it wants to roll. The body or the frame wants to roll on that spring. So this should keep it from rolling so bad in turns. Because we were going to run a wider tire in the back, and I really don't want it to rub on anything. So this will help with that. This will keep it from moving. So I need to figure out how to tack this kind of in place where it fits around the shocks, and where I can easily make brackets to make it removable. I want to make everything removable just in case, you know, we change something later on. Everything's removable. It'll come out easy. And versus just welding it in. Welding it in would be easy. I can have that done in probably 45 minutes, making brackets and everything. But I got to make brackets actually removable, so I can take the sway bar out, take the shocks off, everything. So that is what I'm thinking on that. So now I just need to figure out how to get it to stay where I want it which is probably gonna be me tacking something here to the rear end so it steadies it. And then I can just lay that on top of whatever I tack. So I gotta go find something real quick. So let me go find something and kind of get it tacked in. I'll kind of show you what we're working with. Well, I went back. I did not think that it was tall. It was not far enough away from the rear end, so I readjusted it, got it higher because I was kind of looking at how far you can kind of see the C notch is, and now it's the same distance from the C notch that it is, so it won't hit before the C notch does. So I went back and raised it up and then remade the bracket. I did start cutting them out, but it's just taking a long process because I'm cutting them out of 1/4 inch just so I know it's strong, so it's just taking a while. So I think that's going to end it off here, unfortunately. We'll get the rest of it in the next video because I'm going to keep just banging this thing out because I got to have it at a car show by the end of the year. So we're definitely making progress. The old 1/4 ends are looking good. We're coming along. Really, the back end, after I get this situated, I mean, we'll be pretty much squared away. The trunk lid, I'm not going to get all the dents out. We're just going to paint it black for now just so he can drive it. I just want to get all the really rough areas, like how bad those 1/4 pieces were, just to where it's presentable. And then we'll kind of chip away at it as we go because he's still got a roadster. He wants to get on the road too. So his kind of goal is to get all of his cars on the road at the same time. So we'll get this one to where he can drive it, and then obviously we'll go to the roadster and back and forth until they all get completed. So I'm really happy with how everything's turning out. It's just taken a while just to figure out how much play I want in between everything, so I know it's not going to cause problems later. But we're getting there. I'm excited. So if you haven't got yourself a new t-shirt yet on our website, go get you one, the new logo. We still got a few left, and I think we got like 20 more hats left, so they're not going to be on there for very much longer, so go get one. I want to thank our members. Big thank you guys. They keep growing. As we always say, it's amazing you guys want to keep following us and stuff. We're going to keep putting out a lot of shop content here lately. We got a few wheel it runs coming, but I got to get stuff done in the shop, so that's kind of why we're doing a lot of shop videos. Also, thank you to our subscribers. It's crazy. We're still growing on those as well, so we'll just keep at it and keep doing shop content. Hopefully here soon I can start on my roadster. We gotta sell that Olds cutlass. If anybody's looking for that cutlass or something to drive, that's cool. That Oldsmobile, it'd be a great driver. Probably just needs really the carburetor rebuilt, and I'm gonna put shocks and the front brake hoses on it, so just know that it's safe. But carburetor probably needs rebuilt, and it'd probably be just a daily. So for anybody needing a cool daily, there you go. I think we're gonna ask like $37.50 on it. So give us a shout. The email address is below. So thank you guys. Until next time, see you later.